Hello everyone, welcome back to Trek A Day. Some sad news. It seems that Playmates is going to be ceasing their production of their Star Trek toy line. It's not very surprising to me though. Maybe things will come back, we'll see what happens with the franchise in the future, but it hit this point with that toy line where, whether you like the new shows or not, they missed the opportunity to cater to the audiences of those new shows, I think. I don't know what they were doing. If you look at the toys that have been released in the past few years from Playmates, the majority of them are just rehashes of TOS and TNG stuff, and many of them are just newer versions, new molds of figures that we've had before from the older 90s and early 2000s Playmates line, and that does not have enough appeal. They've already kind of milked those two franchises in particular to death, and a lot of the audience for those franchises probably already has tons of those figures that they were re-releasing, those Picards and Kirks and Spocks, and there's so many that I think for those legacy characters, there's already so much out there for them that just re-releasing kind of the same things, really, even the same kind of uniforms, just a slightly different mold, isn't going to cut it. Especially when, even if you are a newer fan, you see a new Captain Kirk Playmates action figure comes out, you can go online and buy the old Playmates one for the same price. So it's really, I don't know, the market's not there. I don't understand why they didn't push more with the newer shows to reach both older fans who are enjoying the newer stuff and brand new fans in the franchise that probably started with one of the newer programs. The one line that comes to mind immediately is, of course, Prodigy, which that line of figures was botched where it was delayed, and then it wasn't even fully released. Even the first line, which wouldn't have even included the entire main cast, even that wasn't complete. They canceled the hologram Janeway figure. It never came out, so we only got part of the crew with very little fanfare. I don't know if they sold that well, but that wasn't taken advantage of for the main audience for a lot of that type of action figure, kids and newer fans. And with the other shows, stuff like Discovery, there were very few toys for that at all, not a lot of options for people that maybe started with that show or people that are big fans of it. And then you have Lower Decks. They didn't release any Lower Decks toys at all, and that's a show that's going into its 5th season. Strange New World, very, very popular. No Playmates toys at all, or just some larger expensive collectible stuff coming out now, but it's a very different market. I'm talking about the $12 to and under Playmates, in Walmart, Target kind of action figures. They just didn't make them. They were relying too much on the legacy stuff, and there's just not enough meat on the bones anymore. Those things have been milked to death, really, and I just think it's their own doing, really, with not looking at stuff that has an audience. A lot of the newer things, when the older content has already been re-released and re-released over and over again. And I just think it's a missed market, because in comparison to when Playmates was releasing, I remember, as a kid in the 90s, it was $6. Even adjusting for inflation, that's nowhere near a $200 collectible you're putting behind an acrylic case or something like that. You need that cheaper, just general action figure market, and they just failed to capture that with any of the newer shows. They failed to capitalize on it, and so we'll see what happens with the Star Trek franchise in the future, and if maybe that toy line comes back.